Alright, welcome to the external sources final. Feel free to print out your final and kind of follow along, although on this one it's not going to be the type of thing where I just kind of tell you the answers. This one is more an analysis of your reading, right? So this class was a little different than some of the other ones. It was more personal reading based than it was lecture based. Kind of guided you a little bit in terms of giving an introduction to what you're reading. We talked about Josephus and a little bit on Enoch and a little bit on Jubilees just to kind of set the stage. But the truth is, in this class, really, it's about you reading these materials and getting exposed to them and kind of getting an idea of what they say. So this final is short in terms of the number of questions, but perhaps longer in terms of the fact that I'm requiring you to write a decent amount for this. So basically you've got 4 questions, and I'm wanting you to write some on each of the things that you've been asked to read. I'm going to say a minimum of 200 to 400 words, somewhere in that range, per answer. Alright, so that's about the size of a post, a paragraph or so, maybe 2 paragraphs for each of these answers. And so it could be a good deal of typing, when you come to this final, so you may want to have thought through, what you're gonna say when you get to it, so that you get enough time to type it, that kind of thing. But so basically, what I'm wanting is something from each of these 4. Now, on one of these, I want a little more than just one answer. I'm actually wanting 3 different answers. So you're gonna have a total of 6 different answers that you're going to be giving, right? So let's kind of work through it. So in your own words, describe the life experiences that Josephus writes about in the life of Flavius Josephus. So that's kind of that first 40 or 50 page one where he talks about him being related to the high priest and some of the battles and personal conflicts that he had and some of that kind of stuff. So I want you to write something 200 to 400 words that shows that you're at least familiar with the general idea of what he was talking about in that book. Alright, number 2 is kind of the longer one. In your own words, describe 3 interesting facts you learned from reading Flavius Josephus's Jewish Antiquities. I'm wanting at least 200 words for each of these, right? The 200 to 400 for each of these. And so that's the larger book that you were supposed to be doing the majority of your reading on for the course, the one that you wrote your paper on. And so I'm wanting you to give me 3 good paragraphs or so about different parts of this that you found interesting, something that you didn't know, or something that you really enjoyed, something like that kind of shows that you have some comprehension of the reading that you did, that you're taking something away from it, right? And number 3, in your own words, describe an interesting finding from your reading of the book of Enoch, right? So if you haven't read that one yet, you need to go back in and at least read something from that one, connect with it a little bit, maybe read half of it or something, and kind of at least, that way at least you have some experience with it, or read the whole thing, if it would be preferable. And then number 4, in your own words, describe an interesting finding from your reading of the book of Jubilees. So same thing, go in there, pull the PDF up, read through Jubilees, get familiar with it a little bit. And so this is your final. In terms of just number of questions, it's pretty easy, pretty straightforward. It's now more of an issue of making sure that you've done the reading so that you can answer the questions in a good way, and then make sure that your word count is up. You might want to have maybe Word pulled up beside it or something. However you want to do it, to where you could do your word count, and copy and paste it or something. But however you want to do it, I'll leave that up to you. But the main, there's not a whole lot of studying with this. The studying would be to kind of put your thoughts together, make sure you know what parts you're going to talk about and describe in your answers, and then the other part is, if you haven't done any of the or all of the reading, you need to go back through and catch up on that, and make sure you are writing these from some experience of having done the reading, right? Okay. So, anyways, so you should be fine on this. As long as you've done the reading, this one actually is probably the easiest of your finals. I mean, in terms of you may have to type a lot more than the other ones, but if you've already done the reading, really all I'm asking you to do is write back to me some things you learned from the reading. So it should be fairly simple. Okay. All right.